Another quality of Rasulullah was he was very, as we said before, very soft, very gentle, but when it comes to the principles, he was strong, not harsh. He was not bad-tempered. He was not aggressive. He was not angry person, but soft at the same time, strong. You remember the example I gave you? What was the example? Water, yeah. Water is very soft if you want to be friend. Yeah? If you use water in a friendly way, water is soft. But if you want to face water, you can even kill yourself. If you are diving and you don't know how to dive into water, it's like rock. It's very strong. You can hit yourself. Mu'min is very strong. Mu'min doesn't come and attack anyone, but is so strong in defending himself that if you punch him, you will see your hand is damaged. So you spread rumors against Mu'min, but you see your rumors go back to yourself. And he doesn't need even to talk. So this is the way it is. So Rasulullah was very soft, but at the same time strong when it comes to the principle. When it was about his own life, he was very much forgiving, very much pardoning. Even enemies of Islam, as much as possible, he was forgiving them. In the conquest, during the conquest of Mecca, yeah? When he saw that the enemies have no way to create troubles more, then he forgave them. The only time not to forgive was when more harm could have come. They are organized, soldiers, for example, you have to stop them because they are still fighting. Maybe you need to take them as a captive for some time. Maybe you have to control them. But if they are defeated and there is no way that they can, harm, he was easily forgiving them. So the people of Mecca, some of them were leaders of Quraysh, like Abu Sufyan. And how many people were killed by them, how much troubles they made, for 23 years. But when Rasulullah, of course, Fateh Mecca was not 23 years, was before the last year. So let's say 20 years. So for 20 years, they annoyed Muslims, they killed Muslims, they tortured Muslims, they started wars. But when Rasulullah entered Mecca and heard that some people saying, some Muslims saying, Al-Yawm Yawmul Malhamah, today is the day of fighting and revenge, the day of showing our power. Rasulullah said, Al-Yawm Yawmul Marhamah, today is the day of mercy. And with just one short sentence, he freed all of them. He said, Idhabu wa antumut tulaqa. You can go. You are all freed. You are all released. You are all forgiven. Forgiven in the sense that we are not going to come after you. We are not going to set up courts and bring you to the courts. Even he didn't take them to courts. He just freed all of them. And not only that, he said, whoever goes to his own house or goes to the house of Abu Sufyan would be saved. So just go to your house. Don't come and fight us. You are all forgiven. With respect to family, he was very kind. Unfortunately, it was not uncommon. Maybe you can say even it was very common that people were harsh with their family, especially with their wife and children. Because for them to be a good man meant to be strong, and for them a strong man meant to be harsh. If you kiss your children, this is not good. For them, kissing your child means you are soft. They say this is for women. Women kiss their children. Men should not kiss their children. Yeah? Men should never praise their women, their wife. This was the mentality, It's like a boss and has, few people who are under him. This was their mentality. And when the head of the tribe makes a decision, even men of the tribe cannot do anything, let alone women of the tribe or children of the tribe. This was the mentality. But Rasulullah was different. Rasulullah was a man who was many times annoyed by some of his wives. And sometimes they use very bad language, and Rasulullah was tolerating. Sometimes they had expectations and demands from him which were not good, but Rasulullah was not reacting. To the extent that sometimes Rasulullah was making something for himself forbidden, although it was halal, not to hurt his wife. And Allah says, لَمَا تُحَرِّمُ مَا أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ لَكَ تَبْتَغِي مَرْضَاتَ أَزْوَاجِكَ. Because you want to please them, you make something which is halal, forbidden for yourself. Not changing the law of Islam. Some people have misunderstood this. They thought that Rasulullah made law of Islam different. No. It means that it was his right in his personal life, for example, to eat honey. Okay? But because of his wife, for example, while getting angry, where this honey come from or whatever, he didn't. So, he was making even his own rights, sacrificed because of making them happy and keeping them happy. One of the things that Rasulullah used to say to Muslims was, all people more or less have good characteristics and bad characteristics. A man should not only consider bad akhlaq of his wife and then say, because my wife has bad habit or one bad habit, two bad habit, I am going to divorce her. A man should consider there are lots of good akhlaq also in his wife and should not divorce her or leave her. The same, a wife also should not only expect perfection coming from her husband. We are all more or less with problems. You have to always remember positive points of people. Don't let few negative things preoccupy your mind, and then don't see anything good. You just see bad, and gradually you develop hatred. And when this hatred, which is emotional, when this hatred remains for some time, then it's very difficult to control it. Hatred is like a tree. When you grow this tree for years, then it's very difficult to uproot it. It reaches the point that people cannot even see each other, cannot even talk to each other. It's very difficult. Do not let hatred grow in your heart. Okay? When you see negative points, try to fight potential hatred by thinking about positive points. He was very kind with his children, grandchildren, all children, but especially with the children who are under his direct care. He used to sit them on his lap. He used to put them on his shoulder. He used to, let them ride him on his back. And, he was taking them, inside the room. And he was kissing them. And one person, when once he was kissing Imam Hassan alayhi salam, his grandson, a man said, I have two sons and I have never kissed them in my life. Rasulullah said, Man la yarham la yurham. If you don't show mercy, you would not be shown mercy. He used to say, the best mu'mineen are those who are best in their akhlaq with their family. If you show more kindness to your family, you are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, I am the kindest of you towards his family. He used to say, respect your children and teach them good akhlaq and good manners. With slaves, he was very, very kind and supportive. And he was always telling that you have to be very kind to them. He used to say, these are your brothers. Feed them from the same food that you eat. Give them the same dress that you have. Imagine that society. They were treated, even today, people, not slaves, when they have, servants in some countries, they treat them, not like human beings. At least, even if it's human being, not the same order. But Rasulullah says, these are your brothers, feed them from the same food, give them the same dress as yourself. And he used to say, the worst of people are those who sell people. Those who are involved in, selling slaves, because it was a trade. Some people were going to other countries, take people, even here, was something which was practiced, still there are some ports, that slaves were coming, here, in other countries. He was very much against injustice and was supporter of the oppressed people. And as you know, when he was very young, with some youths of Mecca, they made a treaty. It was called as Hilful Fudul, a group of young, noble people that they said, we are going to promise that whenever a stranger comes and has no family, no tribe to support him, because those who had family and tribes, they were okay. But strangers were at risk. So he said, with these people, they said, we are going to support anyone who is dealt in an unjust way. We are going to support them. Even many decades, several decades afterwards, when he became prophet and, he was very established, he said, even today I am committed to that promise. That if I am called for help, I'm going to go and help. He was very unhappy, very critical of the people who were not working. He was not, saying some people work and some people worship. No. You have to worship and you have to work. Work by itself is a great thing. And he used to say that worship has 70 parts, but the best part of it is earning halal. So it's ibadah. And the best part of it, you first make sure that you have halal income, then you do other things. The first thing is that you have to make sure that you eat halal, you give your family halal food, halal dress, halal accommodation. He was very much unhappy, and he said God doesn't like the people who are lazy, the people who are just sitting idle, doing nothing. This is not good. And unfortunately, in some countries, because there is a social security and some support, unfortunately, we see some people become dependent on the services coming from government, and this is not good. These are for the people who are really not able to work. If you are able to work and you are receiving the same amount that you can receive as benefit, you have to work. Let this be used for other people. It's not good, to depend on this. There is no barakah in the money which comes from millions of people's, taxes or whatever, and you don't know, first of all, which business was taxed. Was it a halal business or halal? And were those people, for example, happy with this? They were not happy. Are they happy with this being used by you? Or there are so many questions here. And sometimes I say to people, even from your halal income, when you feed your children, still you are worried what is going to happen to them. Let alone if there is any dishonesty involved, any false information or any false, claim. This makes it very problematic. And even if you are genuine in your claim and you are qualified, you are eligible to receive benefit, but there is a way for you to work harder so that you stop receiving this, you must do it as ibadah, personal ibadah, and also bring honor to the community. Let's our community be the community which receives the least of the support from public fund. We should be contributing, not receiving more. When it comes to prisons, the percentage of people from our community should be the least. But when it comes to contribution, our percentage should be the highest. This is proper way of promoting, your